In the wake of Toy Story 4's official trailer being released, fans of the franchise are buzzing with excitement and brimming with possible ideas on what might come to pass in the upcoming movie. And one of the characters seen in the trailer, which has gotten a lot of attention from fans, is none other than Bo Peep.
Bo! What are you doing here?
Now, Bo Peep isn't exactly a stranger to the series, although it must be said that she hasn't been seen since Toy Story 2, so her appearance in the trailer of Toy Story 4 was a bit of a surprise. It looks like a lot has changed since her days in Toy Story 1 and 2.
Oh, hi, Bo.
What's more, based on the trailer, it seems that she'll be adopting a rather central role in the movie, something which fans are eagerly looking forward to. Some fans think that she's going to be the villain in the movie, and although we're not ruling that out, we'd actually like to expand upon that theory. We believe that Bo Peep will reveal herself as a villain, so to speak, but upon reflection, sacrifice herself for Woody and friends. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and today we're going to take a look at the evidence and break it down. Let's get started.
You are a sad, strange little man.
It would seem that from the trailer of Toy Story 4, Bo Peep's expected role in the film seems to follow the storyline of villains seen in the previous 2 installments in the Toy Story universe.
Open your eyes, Woody. There's plenty of kids out there.
Not counting Sid from the original film, who was essentially a serial killer in the eyes of toys.
Well, we have ways of making you talk.
Every other primary villain was a character that presented himself as a good guy when they were first introduced.
Well, hello there.
Remember, Stinky Pete from the second film presented himself as a nice character.
Why, you don't know who you are.
And of course, Lotso Huggenbear did the same and ultimately revealed himself to be, well, the most evil character ever. I mean, look at that sinister smirk.
Where's your kid now, Sheriff?
Consequently, some fans expect to see yet another case of an ally having a change of heart to side against the protagonist. But to take a character that's been around since the beginning of the franchise and put them on the dark side, so to speak, that would definitely be a first.
You were the chosen one!
It would be a betrayal that could cut very deep for the characters we've grown to love, especially Woody, whose relationship with Bo Peep is the strongest.
You're cute when you care.
At the very least, it's probable that fans will see a major conflict stemming from Bo Peep's new lifestyle clashing with the way of life of being played with as a toy constantly.
Who needs a kid's room when you can have all of this?
It's been years since she left to go reside in an antique shop. As the theory suggests, despite the fact that she lived close to a carnival, she was practically never played with. In fact, she, along with the other toys in the shop, were merely items to be admired and not necessarily to be played with. Now, the carnival and the antique shop mirror a couple of things from past films. The antique shop is reflective of Stinky Pete's museum, where toys are put on display. And the carnival draws a parallel to the daycare center in Toy Story 3 that, at first, is shown as paradise.
New toys!
But upon further inspection, is revealed to be filled with corruption. According to many fans, in the trailer, it would appear as though Bo Peep has undergone a major change in personality. She seems to be a lot more relaxed, carefree, and generally more content living as she is now. She even asks Woody to come back with her to the antique shop, believing that they will both be happier there. This is exactly where the conflict arises.
Sometimes change can be good.
In all likelihood, Woody is going to reject Bo Peep's offer. Recognizing that Bonnie needs him, Woody will opt to stay with her and try to invite Bo Peep to do the same.
Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
Needless to say, Bo Peep will not give in to this life. She has spent so many years living peacefully without ever being played with by a human. She's free to do as she pleases and does not exist for the whims and fancies of her owner. In many ways, this theory's character's motives actually echoes the cynicism of previous villains. Stinky Pete's desire to be preserved in a museum and forever adored by children, and Lotso's cynicism when it comes to owners always abandoning their toys, essentially revolve around uncomfortable truths that they've accepted, but Woody, Buzz, and friends are unwilling to accept themselves.
Whoa, hold on there, boss.
At least from their point of view. For Bo Peep, she's living in a paradise and can't imagine going back to living with an owner. Consequently, the film will probably zone in on the intense emotional tug-of-war between Bo Peep's desire to be a free toy and Woody's sense of obligation to be there for his owner.
Don't let Woody leave.
And speaking of emotional, there are hints that Toy Story 4 fans can expect a rather sad and emotional ending. Like, more so than normal, if that's even possible.
So long, partner.
Actually, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, who voice Woody and Buzz Lightyear respectively, have shared in interviews that the final scene in the movie will be a definite tearjerker. Based on this, the most likely outcome will be that someone will die, and that character, at least many think, will be Bo Peep.
It's Woody!
There are a lot of reasons why Bo Peep will be the one to die in this film. For starters, it's quite plausible to imagine that Bo will fall even deeper in love with Woody, especially if he rejects her offer to go to the antique shop in order to stay with Bonnie. Seeing the love that he has for another will cause her to respect him even more, but will probably also break her heart. In this moment, we will likely see a change in Bo Peep.
What do you say I get someone else to watch the sheep tonight?
Instead of the happy, free toy we see at the beginning of the film, she'll turn into a dark, sad, and heartbroken character. This is where the plot twist comes in. She'll probably give Woody an ultimatum, either her or Bonnie. Woody, sensing that Bonnie needs him more than Bo Peep does, will side with his owner. On the more extreme end of the theories, Bo Peep would commit suicide by throwing herself off of a high surface and shattering into bits and pieces. Now, this is likely a bit too dark, even for a Pixar film, although after the furnace scene, anything is possible. Pixar is not afraid to tackle dark themes, but suicide is, well, it's obviously a little too touchy for a children's film, but death in general, that's always on the table.
Hit the dirt!
Which brings us to the sacrifice theory. Another possibility is that whatever route Woody and friends go on to escape and return to Bonnie will lead to a dead end of some sort.
Bonnie? We're going home for you.
And the only way past is for someone to sacrifice themselves. Bo Peep could sacrifice herself to ensure that everyone else is able to escape. Because she thinks that toys should be free, with nothing left to live for after her heart was broken, it's not far-fetched to imagine her sacrificing herself so that the other toys can get back to their owner, something that she knows will never bring her happiness again.
Woody's gone.
It's actually a really dark possibility, not only because of the death, but because of the hopelessness and cynicism. And before you say it's too dark or too cynical, remember Toy Story's recurring theme is that toys eventually are thrown away or forgotten by the people they exist to love. Honestly, how every toy in the series hasn't had an existential breakdown by now is a miracle. When you really break it down, Bo Peep makes for the most likely death in Toy Story 4. As many people have pointed out, it would be very difficult to effectively kill off a new character like Forky and still have a real emotional impact that does the series justice.
I want you to meet Forky.
It would probably feel like a cheap, no-risk choice with little emotional payoff. And although it's been stated that Toy Story 4 will be the final film in the franchise, it's likely that Pixar wants to keep the possibility to continue in their back pocket, especially given the success at the box office that Toy Story 4 will undoubtedly have. So, for that reason, killing off Woody, Buzz, or Jessie is just too risky.
What, have you all lost your marbles?
Bo Peep is the perfect middle ground choice to go with as far as character death goes, and even though she wasn't in the third movie and never played the biggest role in the series, there is a legitimate relationship between her and other toys, which could be a perfect setup for a dark, emotional payoff. Which, let's be real, is what Pixar is building up to. It's what they're always building up to. Will Bo Peep die of a broken heart, or will she become a martyr for all that is toydom? It may be a fitting end to her character, and will also be a great, albeit sad, plot twist which will leave viewers in tears. We're curious to know, what are your thoughts on the new Toy Story 4 trailer, and do you think Bo Peep is going to sacrifice herself? Do you think that she'll reveal herself to be a villain? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, but most importantly, stay wicked.